And we are live. Bonjour, bonjour. Aaron the dog here with his friends from Paris, live from Paris for Renato Moicano and Benoit Saint Denis. Full betting card here, top to bottom, bottom to top, with the best MMA panel in the game. RIP Lou Betcha. You were part of it as well. But Lou will return to the internet when he does. But we are here to break down a rather competitive UFC Perry card. I think it's probably the best card that's a non-pay-per-view in a while, and frankly, probably better than the upcoming pay-per-view, in my opinion, at least from a competition standpoint. But not going to break down UFC 2024. Kevin Christian will do that for us. Lucky, how you doing coming off of the worst contender series of the year?
Yeah, I mean, at least Kevin Vallejo showed up and looked good, man. We got a one solid prospect out of it, but yeah, I'm looking forward to this card. I'll say that much. I think this is a good card, a lot of good fights, and yeah, it's been a while since we talked UFC. Feels like it's been way longer than the 1 week off, but yeah, the last card was good. I had the one bet, last minute. I think a lot of us had that actually, so that was good to hit that, and yeah, hopefully we get another one this week. Let's get down to business here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And with me, as always, I don't even know when he started with me, but it's been a long, long time now. 2 cents. How you doing today? I've yet to listen to your other podcast. I do not listen to that until afterwards, but excited to chop up a little bit of UFC Perry with you, starting off with your boy Chris Duncan.
Bonjour. Oh my God. Bonjour, mon amis. We are UFC Paley. I'm here, baby. I'm for that. Yeah, it's another.
Roll into Arnold Schwarzenegger there.
I'm for this. So yeah, man. I'm like Lucky said, dude. It's a fucking good card. There's no like title fights, but it kind of feels like a pay-per-viewy kind of a card. But yeah, man, shout out to you guys. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Make sure y'all smash the like button for Aaron. And yeah, man, excited to be back. And it seems like the only kind of fucking bets I can hit anymore are team sports bets. Been doing really well with that. Kind of been getting my ass kicked with UFC. So looking to right the ship here for sure.
Yeah, enough with that. We are going to just jump into this one. I alluded to a second ago. We have the Chris Duncan Whisperer with us here, and just my 2 cents. So be looking forward to hearing from him on this one. Balaji Okai versus Chris the Problem Duncan. I didn't really know that was his nickname. Maybe it's the Problem Chris Duncan. But either way, I think this is a interesting fight. With Balaji Okai, I'm definitely a little cooled on him off of that Kuamba fight. Got a split decision there. I think definitely, showed a little. It was a short note. It was a last minute opponent change, so I will give him that. But I do think this is a rather tough second opponent in his career here, and Chris Duncan, who coming off a loss to Torres 6 months ago. Torres just lost to Ignacio Bahamondes, so now Torres is shit. I know that's how it works in this, but honestly, I do think that Chris Duncan is quite live as an underdog in this opening fight here. I was surprised. I think the line is fairly off. Chris Duncan's very, very tough, so I'd be surprised for Balaji to be able to put him away with the strikes, but if he does, fair on him. And I think over 15 minutes, I just think Chris Duncan has more tools, slightly not as a much better IQ, I think, and more higher level of competition overall. So I may be overrating Chris Duncan here coming off of the loss, but I think as an underdog at this price, it doesn't make any sense to me why Balaji should be lined where he is. So I'll take Duncan to steal a decision here to start out the Perry card. Lucky.
Yeah, it's a really fun matchup to kick off the card. It's two guys that I like. Oki has really impressive athleticism and physicality, good speed as well. I feel like fights behind the jab. Duncan is a little bit hittable for me. I think he's going to be at a speed disadvantage as well. Chin, a little bit of a question mark for me, actually, just because we've seen him get hurt a few times. Both the Contender Series fights, obviously got put out by Slava, and, he was on death's door against Charlie Campbell. It's pretty amazing comeback that he was able to win that one. So that for finish and he got one. I feel like Duncan's path probably wrestling here. I'm not sure he's really like a tremendous wrestler. I like that he can mix it in for sure. I don't know if it's something that I really want to rely on him to do for 15 minutes here. So yeah, I think it's a fun fight. I'm excited to watch it. I'm going to pick Balaji Oki in the opening fight here.
Gotcha. Yeah, and lucky you've been put on warn by Sean in the chat here. So he's on a hunger strike right now, so don't be too upset with him. 2 cents. Lucky, or Duncan Whisperer, I should say.
Man, if y'all really thought the Duncan Whisperer won't gonna bet Chris Duncan at almost 2-1, you just don't know old 2 cents, man. Yeah, dude, this is gonna be Charlie Campbell all the fuck over again. Like, Oki doesn't hit like Charlie Campbell or Slava. He's gonna get into a brawl, think he's doing something. He is athletic, like Lucky said. He's explosive. But, dude, he leaves that chin right up in the air. He doesn't have super great defense, and Chris Duncan is going to turn this motherfucker's lights out. So, yeah, I bet Chris Duncan at plus 185. I just think he's the better fighter, more experience, kind of better everywhere, except maybe durability. But, dude, again, this dude does not hit like fucking Slava. And he, he got hurt by Charlie Campbell fucking cracks, too. Dude, you know who else cracks? Fucking Chris Duncan. He put fucking Manuel Torres on skates, and Manuel had to panic wrestle to fucking get the takedown and the grappling and shit. So, yeah. And again, people are so impressed with him barely skating by Timothy Kwamba, who just lost to fucking Lucas Almeida, but they're shitting on fucking Manuel Torres for losing to Bahamondes. Dude, get the fuck out of here. Chris Duncan plus 185.
Yeah, and you, I hate to tell you closed, you had a little CLV there at plus 150.
I know, dude. I know. I'm going to fucking eat it so bad. Every time I get passionate about some shit like this, I end up losing. But yeah, let's go, Duncan.
All right. Good attitude there. Plus 150, minus 180 on Balaji's side. Nora, I could see an upset. Honestly, I'm going to be talking about a lot of the dogs tonight that at least have a decent chance. I think this is one of the more competitive cards in recent memory, in my opinion. And even the under 2.5 at plus 105. So they're expecting this one to go to the distance. So interesting fight to lead us off here. I think a really good fight at 3:00 to start out the card. And then we have a fight at bantamweight, women's bantamweight division. So, it is what it is. Nora Cornholio versus Jacqueline Cavalcante. This fight, I'm not really excited. Good day, Nick. This fight, I'm not really expecting a whole lot out of because it's a Jacqueline Cavalcante fight. I'll be honest, I don't think she's all that exciting. I think she kind of just creates a very certain type of fight, and that typically is a close decision where she just slightly edges out her opponent by being able to kind of keep the distance, mix it up to the body a little bit. She's a good technical striker. She's got decent size for the division. She just went to a split with Josiah Nunes where I believe she lost the 3rd round. I did not rewatch that fight. I'm sorry. And Nora Cornholio, just keeps kind of sticking around. I think she's a little bit better than some people maybe realize. Had the big upset of Megan Mullins after the win over Jocelyn Edwards. I do think Cavalcante gets this one done, and it probably goes to a decision. So square to square can be Jacqueline Cavalcante by deck. Just my 2 cents.
Bungholio. Yeah, man. I want to go back to the window here with Cornholio. I can't quite do it, but I'm actually going to pick her, dude. I was there, sitting here spinning the coin on the desk. But I kind of already picked her a little bit on the show yesterday, but I'm going to do it again. I'm going to pick Nora Cornholio. I'm going to say she gets her revenge here. I don't like the quick turnaround for Cavalcante, and I think that's going to bite her a little bit. Cornholio does have pretty good cardio, and she's a good striker. So I know she lost to her, and I know that Cavalcante has probably gotten better and is even more in her prime, but I think Cornholio has improved too. I think that was her MMA debut. So I'm going to say she gets her revenge here and gets a decision, maybe a late stoppage here in Pelly.
Yep. So happy we got this rematch too. No, we're truly blessed. And Cornholio has more Tapology votes. I love it. Good. Lucky. Who are you with on this one?
Cornell is all right, and she has a few built-in advantages here, fighting at home the full camp. But she is getting close to 35 now. Cavalcanti coming in on short notice, having just fought less than a month ago against Nunes. And yeah, I mean, Two Cents said it, Noah said it. This is a rematch. Cavalcanti has the advantage of having already fought Cornell and beating her. They were both very early in her careers. I believe Two Cents is correct that it was Nora's first fight. I think it was Cavalcanti's second fight, maybe. But yeah, Cavalcanti's the only woman to beat her so far. I think probably that played a factor in choosing to accept this fight on short notice and take the short turnaround. Probably a matchup that she probably feels like she has a decent handle on.
Right.
I don't really have a super passionate take here. I think Cavalcanti is a little more technical, puts up tons of volume. So I'm going to lean her way. But yeah, I'm not really very enthusiastic about this fight.
Minus 220. I can't get you under minus 220. Jacqueline Cavalcante on short notice in France.
Unfortunately, not.
He's probably going to get robbed in a split decision. Let's be honest. Like in France, but at minus 220, what could go wrong? And the under 2.5 is only plus 260, so they're expecting fireworks in this.
There ain't nothing that says you don't have to pass. Like, you can absolutely pass on this fight because it's probably going to the cards, and like someone's probably going to get fucked.
I mean, so this fight's going to be happening at what? Probably about 4 o'clock Eastern time. That's a good time to get that grill started. I haven't used this term in a long time. This is a steak fight, and it's going to go for 20 minutes because this is going to distance. So you got plenty of time to grill the steak, let it rest, and have it ready for the
next. Them grill marks on the steak.
Remember steak fights? Remember when back in the day, every single card I had the steak fight? That was a fun era of the dog show. But either way, we're going to move on. That's only the second fight of the night, so it'll probably be about 3:30. You can have your steak done for Daniel Barras and Victor Altamirano. I could have sworn that these guys have fought 6 times. I thought this was Daniel Barras, Victor Altamirano 6. I don't know how these guys haven't fought yet. It just feels like they have. It feels like a fight that Victor Altamirano wins like 6.5 out of 10 times against like a guy like Barras. Barras is a very good kickboxer. He's learned MMA as he's gone along here, but we all know where he wants to truly keep the fight. And Jafel Filo knew that. I felt very good about Jafel Filo in that fight against Barras. He submitted him. I think Victor Altamirano doesn't quite have that same game with regards to being able to get the finish, but I do think he's going to be able to kind of mix up the levels, mix up the striking, mix up the grappling at times, keep Barras uncomfortable enough in the MMA game. So I don't think Victor is going to go out there and just strike with Barras here, and I do think Victor's smart enough to get the 2 rounds. It might be a little bit stressful along the way, but I do think Altamirano wins this one. I'd love to say by submission, but I really don't have that much faith. So I'll say by decision, but, we'll see. Not ever too confident Victor Altamirano, I'll be honest. Lucky.
Yeah, 2 guys that are kind of getting up there in age for 125. And I think Barras is kind of here because they want some more Spanish fighters. You've heard Dan explicitly mention a lot of times now they want to do a UFC event in Spain. They got Topuria as the champ right now. They just signed his brother. They got Yoel Alvarez doing well. And I think they're trying to, get Barras into the mix, have a little momentum for that prospective card. So they gave him Altamirano, who's coming off 2 losses. Barras is coming off a loss himself to Jafel Filho, which is fine. I think Filio's pretty good. Barras had a successful 3-0 run, all finishes on UWC before coming to the UFC. And I think he's slightly underrated. And I do think he can beat Altamirano. I think he has decent wrestling, and I think he's pretty strong for the weight class. And I actually think he could be able to get Altamirano down, honestly. We saw Tim Elliott cooked Altamirano in the wrestling. So, yeah, I mean, it's another fight that I'm not really, dying to have anything to do with. But I think I'm going to go with the dog and Barras in this fight.
All right, nice. Yeah, and Altamirano definitely accepts the takedowns rather easily. 2 cents.
By God, I do like steak with some sweet corn. Medium rare with some asparagus too. Nah, man. Give me Altamirano by split here. And I don't want anything to do with it, but I kind of feel like the outcome will be similar to the fight before this, like a greasy split. I could see it going to Barras too. I do think he's a little bit of a live dog. I think Altamirano's maybe like a little bit more well-rounded, but nah, I've never really been that high on that dude, so I'm just gonna pass like crazy. Altamirano by split though.
All right. Yep. I think that's pretty fair with regards to this one. I think this is probably set up for a split, and Altamirano likes to be on the wrong end of splits. He's not great at winning close fights. So, yeah, go ahead and move on from this one. I don't want much to do with it. It's 125 to Victor currently. Next fight. Yeah, a little bit of a rough start here, I guess, when I really think about some of these fights, because I am not too excited for Eileen Perez to fight ever. I'll be honest with you. Daria Zankova nailed that. But either way, we've got that wrestler versus striker matchup that you used to get in like UFC back in 2008, but you still get it in the bantamweight division in the women's division here. So Eileen Perez, I do think is going to be able to get Daria down early and often. I think she probably eventually wears her out and probably gets her back and ground and pounds her out. So I'll say second round TKO for Eileen Perez. Daria, not very good, in my opinion. 2 cents.
Boys, I hope everyone is enjoying the show. Hope everyone has smashed the like button for Aaron. And I hope everyone is listening up good, because it's been a long time. It feels like it's been ages since I brought out the big COIN. It is time to flip the coin. It is low level. I am passing like a son of a bitch, and I just don't give a motherfuck who wins this fight. And sure, let's just flip it. Who's the favorite? Eileen Perez. Okay,
Eileen Perez is the favorite by
she'll be heads. Zelakova. She will be tails. So
Zelenkova.
Zelenkova. Here we go. Oh God, that was a weak ass flip. Jesus Christ. It is Eileen fucking Perez, the twerker.
Oh, how boring.
Twerk. I know, dude. Twerking for the coin. Unreal.
All right. Well, the coin wanted to be right.
I hope you're all fucking happy. Eileen Perez.
Yeah, way to be square coin. Lucky.
Yeah, Perez, 3 in a row now. You guys mentioned it, not really a pretty style, but it's working. Zheleznikova is 1-0 in the UFC, fighting out of France. Came up in the Aries promotion. She beat Liana Jojua there, lost to Melissa Mullins, and prior to fighting over there, she was in Russian shows like Open and MMA series. She beat Montserrat Rendon in her debut. I'm gonna pick Perez to be able to get a wrestling going here. Zheleznikova has obviously struggled with that before. Price seems maybe a little bit much to me. I mean, minus 2xx on Eileen Perez isn't really an enticing option to me, especially with Daria being the one having the home game here technically. But Perez is looking shaky against Edwards for a little bit. I'm not a huge fan of her, but I do think she probably just is able to get wrestling going and win this one over 15 minutes.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with all that. Minus 240, plus 195. There's not much more to say about this fight, except that if you have a second stake, you can cook it during that fight. So, all right, next fight. One of the fights on this card on the early prelims I'm very excited about here, and excited to hear about thoughts here from both the panelists. Taylor Lapouille taking on Vince Morales. Vince Morales taking this fight on short notice. Got cut from the UFC and did kind of what you should do when you get cut from the UFC. I think he took some tough fights, looked very improved, got a variety of finishes. He's 32 years old. He's not much time to waste at this point. 33 years old, almost 34 now for Vince Morales. And then Taylor Lapouille, not a young man either, at 32 and a half, rebounded from the loss to Basharat to beat Cody Stamen. I mean, that is what it is. I think this is going to be a very interesting fight. I think Vince Morales is going to surprise a lot of people. Looking at the odds here, I've been waiting to bet him at I'm quite tempted at plus 285, though. I think this is probably going to be about as good as it gets. I do think Taylor Lapalus is a very good fighter. I do think at times his kind of a lack of aggression and lack of like ability to determine where the fight takes place can kind of bite him a little bit. And yes, he's going to be in France. I do think Morales needs to get a finish here to win, and that's where I'm, a little more concerned. I think you'd have to. I think winning a decision here is kind of not the route you want to go in France against Taylor Lapalus, but I think he can get the finish. I think, and I'm going to take Vince Morales. I'm going to take him to win by a submission. Actually, I think he works the grappling and wears down Taylor, and sometime in the, even though it's on short notice for Vince, I think he's staying in pretty good shape at this point in his career. Kind of was ready for this type of opportunity, and I'm going to take Vince Morales in Paris to get the upset by submission. Lucky.
Yeah, I mean, listen, fair play to Morales. You talked about it. He got cut. He went back to the regionals and just made himself undeniable. He took 5 fights, 5 different shows, won them all, finished 4 out of the 5. He beat Yuki Matoya on Ryzen, just beat Hunter Azurvia, Peruvian necktie, a month ago to punch his ticket back to the UFC. And, therein kind of lies the problem for me a little bit. He just fought 1 month ago, a few days short of a month, flying over to Paris from out west, facing a hometown guy in Lapalus who's a tough fight. And the other thing with Morales for me is that, yeah, he's beating all these guys on the regionals, but, this isn't that. And he struggled at the UFC level. I haven't really seen anything that's telling me that's going to change, to be honest. Like this ain't Luis Smolka here. Lapalus had the more complete camp, didn't have to travel. He's fighting at home, a little bit younger. I think he's a better striker, solid takedown defense. So I totally get what you're saying, the lack of aggression, and that, Vince Morales is not going to have that issue. But for me, I got to go Lapalus in this one.
All right, fair enough. 2 cents.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Frenchie here myself. I just think it's not that Morales isn't live. I think he is live to get a finish potentially. Taylor can kind of coast sometimes. But I do think if he doesn't get the finish, like Lapalus is going to win a decision. He works at a slightly higher clip. He'll have the crowd behind him. So, yeah, I got Lapalus here. I got him in a parlay, but I get where you're coming from, too. I think Morales is live to get like a submission, maybe like club and sub or something. Because, like, they're both kind of second chancers. And, like, I would say Morales has better losses. Maybe Lapalus has slightly better wins, but neither one of them have super great wins. So it's kind of like I can see this fight being kind of close. I think Lapalus is going to win, maybe unanimous, but probably like a split, honestly.
Yeah, no, one thing I like when a guy loses, or like even when we were talking about in the Contender Series, the types of fights these guys were taking. At least Vince, it appeared, was trying to take the hardest fights he could find. Like the fight with Ryzen, I think going there and winning that fight, the Azure fight, these are as high level as he could get on that, and obviously Lapalus is a level above that, but at plus 285, I think I am going to be willing to take a shot to find out there.
Yeah, dude, it's a little wide, and like, hey, credit to Morales for he literally fought his way back into the UFC, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so we shall see. A very good fight, or interesting fight here between 2 older guys in the division for sure. So we will move on to the next fight that should not take very long to break down unless someone is a lot smarter than I am. Ludovic Klein is going to go in there and knock out Roosevelt Roberts in round number 1 or round number 2, I would think. Or are we going to get one of those frustrating Ludovic Klein performances where, why didn't he finish him? Why did he start grappling after he had him hurt? He wins a decision, and everybody is just confused. I think he's going to, at some point, kick Roosevelt's body in the right spot to where Roosevelt's going to curl up and then turtle up for a TKO. And I see it happening in round 1, honestly. So Ludovic Klein, round 1 KO. Breaking news. Lucky. Or the other one. Thank you, Lucky, for running this show. And the only reason anybody shows up to this channel. 2 cents or whatever.
Well, dude, I'm not smarter than you, so I'll just keep it quick. Yeah, I agree. I think this is the fucking mismatch of the card. But like, yeah, I can't bet the Klein props because then he'll just he'll just beat the shit out of Roosevelt for 15 minutes. But yeah, I think Ludovic Klein's going to mop him up.
Yeah, maybe he submits him. Lucky.
You fool. You guys are actually picking Ludovic. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, Klein wins. Roberts, I mean, hasn't won in the UFC since 2020. Klein hasn't lost a fight in the UFC since 2021. You know, Roberts filling under short notice. He's flying to Europe. I think Klein's way better than him, so I'm not going to belabor the point here. Let's move on.
Yeah, I remember when Roosevelt Roberts was a prospect. I'm old enough to remember when Roosevelt Roberts was a prospect. And like he was like the John Jones of the 155. They're like super long. He's like got that high IQ. Like
that reference.
Oh man, yeah. Thank you very much. All right. So who wants some burnt sweet potatoes? Because I've got Omar Sy and Woon Young in the next fight at light heavyweight. By the way, minus 950 now on Ludovic Klein. So there's still room to bet him. Plus 625. Now the under 2.5 is at minus 165, which I find funny because even the props are not completely sold that Ludovic Klein's gonna not do Ludovic Klein things and just fuck around for 15 minutes. He's got to finish him though. He's got it. But Omar Sy versus Dawoon Young. I think this is a very interesting fight. I'm intrigued by Omar Sy here for sure so far, but I'm curious kind of to see once he's not just purely the hammer, how he looks. So far, he's not had to really worry. He got to face, he had two fighters canceled before Toscos took the fight and just got face cranked out of there in like a minute and a half. So really didn't tell us a whole lot there. Dawoon Young, he's been on a little bit of a rough patch as of late, losing 3 straight to Dustin Jacoby, Devin Clark, and Carlos Ulberg. The thing about the Ulberg loss is he got submitted by Carlos Ulberg. I just don't know how like that can happen and you're still allowed to fight. Like he should never fight again. Omar Sy is going to pop his head off with a rear naked choke with no hooks in, probably. Like Omar Sy, I don't mean to use MMA math or MMA submission math here, but if Carlos Ulberg can submit you at any point in the fight, I don't care. Omar Sy is going to submit you as well. So Omar Sy by submission, or else something is deeply wrong here. Lucky.
Yeah, Omar Sy is coming along well. He may be actually a tad better than I thought he was, to be completely honest. You know, I mean, he caught the alley-oop and dunked it in his debut, and this time they threw the ball a little bit higher, but, you know, he should still be able to jump up and cram this one as well, in my opinion. You know, Zhang in the past 3.5 years has only beaten Nzechukwu and William Knight, so it's not great. If we go back the extra 6 months, he had a split draw with Sam Alvey.
Ooh.
So, you know, he lost to Devin Clark. Not good. He was submitted by Carlos Ulberg, as you mentioned.
That's the worst.
Not good. And I didn't even know that Ulberg knew how to do that. I was like, what? He knows that you're even allowed to do that? I didn't even know he knew that rule. But, yeah, I mean, so I'm not going to be in the Dawoon Young business this weekend. C should, you know, extend his undefeated record once again here. And they've priced it accordingly. So no involvement from a financial standpoint for me.
Fair enough. Lucky. Or 2 cents. So what's your hot take on Dawoon Young here? Dawoon Young.
There won't be one. I am financially involved in this because I think C is the side. And it kind of feels like, yes, this will be a step up, but it feels like an appropriate step up. Like, okay, you're not just going to be can crushing. You're going to get a little bit of a test here. Dawoon Young does hit hard. But goddamn, is he so hittable himself? Like, he is such a lug. I think C's going to have a ridiculous speed advantage here, and I think he fucks him up and puts him away. Yeah, it's like if you look at the record, it kind of is a little sketchy to like want to parlay C because it's like, I don't know, the other win over Kennedy, but like Kennedy's kind of weird and chinny, and like he's got the win over Ulberg though, so it's kind of it's just weird. So. Yeah, I mean, I could end up looking like a fucking fool here, but I think C is the side. And again, he's not super chinny from what I've seen. Kennedy's kind of a sketch ball, and I don't know, man. I think C's the real deal and gets it done.
Yeah, minus 550 plus 410 to Dawoon Young. So that sounds like a Zhang Li participant if I've ever heard one before. But going to keep on moving. We're just trucking through the card here. We're to the Beechard prelim, which is an absolute car wreck of a fight, hopefully. If this one goes 15 minutes, something is deeply, deeply wrong. Jan Kutalaba taking on Ivan Urslan, the newcomer here. This is not Johan Lioness. I double-checked here. This is Ivan Urslan. Ivan Urslan doesn't like to do a lot of thinking. Ivan Urslan likes to just go in there and throw hands. Like when you start to make him think, he freezes up badly, as we saw in his one of his losses a couple fights ago. The fight against not the Ibrahim Chuzagayev fight. The Chuzagayev fight just used a lot of movement and kind of feints, and it just did kind of freeze up Ivan Urslan here. And he just didn't throw a whole lot. And to be honest, I could kind of see Jan Kutalaba trying to kind of do a similar type of game plan, mix in some wrestling for once. I know his Moldovan wrestling credentials are brought up a lot, and he doesn't use them. They shouldn't really be. But I could kind of see Jan Kutalaba trying to be smart, but he's just going to get in his own way eventually here, I think. And then he'll want to throw down. I could see either one of these guys knocking the other one out, but I'm going to say Ivan Urslan knocks out Jan Kutalaba in round 2. Is not any confidence of any sort in this fight, nor any interest in betting it, but I'll take the newcomer to win in round 2 once Jan Kutalaba stops being smart, which doesn't last long. So 2 cents.
I agree with like 99% of what you said, but I'm actually going to be on the other side. Kutalaba is sketchy, but I think he's gonna fight like a dumbass, get rocked, and then be like, "Oh fuck!" Go to his grappling, get the takedown, and then just smash this dude's fucking face into the canvas like Khalil Roundtree, like similar to that. So I'll say it's sketchy. And Kutalaba gets the comeback victory in like round 1. Yeah,
Okay.
round 1.
All right. Lucky.
Kutalaba has really fallen on hard times, you guys. He's had 16 fights in the UFC. Did you guys realize this? He's been here
for against Magomed Ankalaev.
Just 2. It feels like 10, but it was 2.
That's insane.
And yeah, I mean, he's only won 6 of the 16. He's won 2 of his last 9 from 2020 to now. So, yeah, it really doesn't take much for me to pick the other side of whatever matchup that he's in. And I don't mean to trash the guy because I love Kutalaba. He's pure entertainment. I think the UFC is kind of like how many more times can we really trot this guy out here if he's just taking an L every single time? And, Urslan is all right. He doesn't knock your socks off, but he's viable. All of his losses came in KSW. And, Thomas Narkun and Ibrahim Chizagayev, that's really no problem. Kutalaba is not better than those guys. Haratik is a good fighter too. That's his other loss. He's honestly pretty decent, but he's just a little bit old is the only thing. So, Urslan, I don't think really projects amazingly in the UFC, but I think he probably has the stuff to be Kutalaba. I'm kind of surprised that he's not like minus 150. Now, with that said, I'm not lining up like, well, I got to slam this value. Like, this isn't a fight that I want to be like, oh, yeah, one of these guys is going to take my money. Let's see like what, random result generates when they put them in the cage. So I don't know. I just would have expected Urslan to be like, slight favorite here. So I'm going to side with him, but this is going to be just an entertaining one to watch with no money on the line, I think.
Yeah, I definitely think he's favored by Fight Night. Nearly a pick 'em already now. So Jan Kutalaba is a slight favorite. Yeah, this one's very random. I thought about putting in the Zhang Li for a while with Urslan, but I'm not. I'm just going to leave it alone here for now. But we'll move on to the next fight, 155, Faraz Aziem versus Matt the Steam Arola Frivola. Matt Frivola, coming off the loss against Benoit Saint Denis 10 months ago, got absolutely obliterated by that head kick. And he rightfully took some time off. Ziem's won 3 straight against Figlak, Jai Hebert, and Claudio Puelas by split. That last fight against Claudio Puelas definitely left some, I think, room to be desired. At this point in Ziem's career, I feel like he should be a little bit better than he is. I get he's won 3 straight here. He's won 4 or 5. Like he's getting decent results, but just kind of a decent to good kickboxer, I'd say. He's all right in the grappling, but his takedown defense is very poor, in my opinion. Allows his opponents to get down in his body a lot, get the takedowns. Even Puelas was able to get some wrestling success going. I think Matt Frevola is going to clearly push that side of things in this fight here. And I don't feel like Ferociam really has that lethal of stand-up to get the respect of Matt Frevola to gain that distance. And I think Matt Frevola is a pretty bad matchup for ZM. So I'm pretty tempted to put Matt Frevola into the Zhang Li. I do think he can, hang with him on the feet. I think that he has the power to get the respect of ZM too. And I think in the wrestling, ZM's going to have a lot of trouble. So maybe I'm overrating it here. 2 cents. What do you think?
Dude, this is one of the toughest fights for me to pick or call or whatever. I definitely have no action on it. I think I picked ZM yesterday. I'm going to do the same. I'm going to stick with that pick. I'm going to pick Fares ZM. I'm going to say he robs Matt Frevola here. I'm going to say everyone's like, oh, dude, Matt landed the hardest shot. But the Frenchman just gets it done. It's not something I feel super confident about. Frevola could knock him out, but I think ZM will probably skate along the outside, electric slide, land some distance strikes, and everyone's like, oh, dude, Frevola beat him. What a bullshit, whatever. But, yeah, I want nothing to do with it. But ZM by split. Greasy split.
All right. Fair enough. Lucky.
Solid lightweight matchup here. Ziam's on a good run right now. He's won 3 in a row. He's 27. 5-2 in the UFC. Been here for a little bit longer than people realize. And Frevola's been here for a long time as well. He's 5-4-1 in the promotion. Coming off a pretty bad KO loss less than a year ago. 34 years old now. He's been knocked out in 3 out of 4 losses. Ziam's got 4 inches of height, 4 inches of reach, 7 years younger, better momentum, fighting at home. I mean, he's kind of checking box after box, for me, to be honest. And all I've heard all this week is Frevola everywhere. 2 cents for the first guy I've heard this whole week, say Fares Ziam. And I like Fares Ziam here, man. And I bet him at -105. And now he's out to around -130 market wide. I think it's a fair line. I mean, fighting a 34-year-old who I think is close to going over the hill, if not already there. A guy who got knocked out 10 months ago. I mean, it's Ziam in this spot for me. So we'll see how it shakes out. But, yeah, it's a side I like.
Fair enough. And just like that, we're down to 4 in the Zhang Li still as we move on looking for number 5. But, yeah, ZM split decision. Yeah, good get. ZM does have a decent get-up game. I do agree with that. All right. We'll move on to the next fight on this very strange main card. Morgan Charrier taking on Gabriel Miranda. Sure, why not? Gabriel Miranda coming off a really impressive performance against Shane Blonde Young. Choked him out. Somehow choked him out. Like the choke wasn't even underneath his neck, but he still went out. But, whatever. Gabriel Miranda, a very good black belt. He's going to try to grapple some more. Morgan Charrier, a known banana slip peeler from throughout his career. He might run into a submission here. At this price, there's just not. What are you doing? I can't even trust Morgan to get a finish here either, because he's another guy who is known to play with his food from time to time. Has the Ludovic Klein syndrome, if you will. So I maybe I'll sprinkle the Gabriel Miranda sub just for fun on fight night, just in case it happens. But Morgan Charrier should knock this guy out, who just doesn't like being punched in the face at all. Lucky.
Oh, great. It's this fight. Yeah, I'm sorry. Morgan Charrier is not that good. Of all the regional guys out there, I never once thought to myself, oh, Morgan Charrier needs to get signed. It was everybody that beat him that I wanted to get in. Okay, Vucenic ended up getting in. Paul Hughes went to PFL. Saladin Parnasse. I mean, can we get this guy in the UFC, please? Been begging for this for so long on this show. Every time we talk about one of his opponents. I mean, this guy's really good. I'm trying to tell people, man, can we get him? Anyway, not Charrier. He lost to every big name that he fought on the regionals. Soren Bach beat this guy too.
Ugh.
But listen, he's an action fighter. I'm not complaining about having to watch him fight. He's fun to watch. It's just when I was watching, him on the regionals, I wasn't like, oh, this is the guy we need. Anyway, yeah, -7XX on Charrière is pretty bad in my opinion. I don't know how he's this big of a favorite, and I get the short notice from Miranda, and Miranda's not that good, believe me. But Charrière just, I don't love the guy either. He's twice the favorite that Saint Denis was against this guy, so that doesn't make a ton of sense to me. But with that said, Morgan Charrière by knockout.
Yes, fair enough. Fair enough. He had Benoit Saint Denis' neck there for a second in that fight. Don't forget before he got 10-8'd. 2 cents.
I get that the price tag is wide, but they did not put Charrière on this fight in Paris to lose to fucking Gabriel Miranda. This is a setup fight, and I was watching tape on Miranda just to make sure. Yeah, Charrière is going to have a restonkulous speed advantage, and he's going to body this fucking jobber. So yeah, Charrière by knockout.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. We can go ahead and move on from this fight, if you want to call it that. Next fight. I won't get to talk about this one because I have a rule. I don't break down fights of former co-hosts. It's just a rule of mine. But I'm sure that 2 Cents has a lot to tell you about this fight between Kevin Jussier and Brian Battle. I am going to not be picking this fight at all. So 2 Cents, go ahead.
Dude, I really don't have a lot on this. I mean, you know what time it is with me. Like, I'm definitely staying on code with what's this fuck, but I'm gonna pick him to win here. I don't know, man. This is the one where there's several fights on this card where I can see the Frenchman getting the robbery. I think this is actually going to be pretty close, and Battle gets the split decision, and everyone's like, oh, the crowd is fucking going nuts, and like there's some fucking, I don't know, there's fucking chaos in the arena. But yeah, I'm gonna say Battle by greasy split, but I want nothing to do with this fight, man.
Yeah, I think it's a decent fight, to be honest. But Lucky, what do you think about this fight?
Yeah, two big welterweights getting after it here. I think this is definitely Jussier's toughest fight to date. Kiefer Crosby is about as free as it gets at this level, and Kenan Song is not far behind. I would have liked to see Jussier put Song away, but he did put up a ton of volume there. This is not Brian Battle's toughest fight. He's gotten some good UFC experience under his belt thus far. He's been in there with Renato for one thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't think Battle's going to have to worry about a ton of grappling. I wouldn't expect here. Jussier obviously subbed Kiefer Crosby, but, we don't need to explain why that is not relevant here. Did get Song down as well, but, I'm not sure if that really would or should be in the game plan, this fight, though, for Jussier. I think he's pretty solid. I think he's a pretty good fighter. Battle, for me, a little bit better experience, maybe a little bit craftier. So I think it's a tough one, man. I think it's close. I'm going to pick Battle to win. I mean, beyond -150-ish, I don't think it's something I'd really want to bet. So I'm not going to have anything on this one. But yeah, I'll side with Brian Battle and what I think is a good fight and probably a pretty close fight.
-170 to Battle, plus 140 on Jussier. Yeah, good fight. Be interested to watch. I will not be betting that one. All right, next fight. This fight, like, I've gotten myself strangely hyped for some reason. I like William Gomis. I will go out and say that. I'm not afraid to say it. You might not have the most entertaining offensive style, but I think the dude is extremely slick, very smart, and very, very technical. And I think getting better as he's getting into his UFC run here. He's had some closer fights, came in against Jarno Aarons on short notice, and then Joe Anderson Brito on the other end of the spectrum here. All offense all the time. Very, very exciting. And getting, I think, a ton of hype, rightfully so, lately. This could be a fight where he, gets a hold of Gomis and either, submits him or knocks him out. It would not surprise me for either result here. But I do think there's a realm where Gomis is able to really frustrate and, just kind of outpoint Joe Anderson Brito and eventually kind of wear him down. The first round could be very, very dangerous for William Gomis, and I would not be surprised if he doesn't make it through that first round. But if he does, if he kind of starts to establish the really, really nice, body kicks particularly, works well to the legs as well. He has just good kicks overall. He's a very long fighter at 25 years old, still getting better and better here. I know I've talked about a lot about the Gomes side, but I think that it's because most people are going to be on Brito here, and I understand why. I just think that he could really outlay and frustrate Joanderson Brito, and as this fight goes on, kind of build more and more of a lead. So I'm going to take William Gomes to win a close decision over Joanderson Brito, but I'd love to see kind of William Gomes. If William Gomes could kind of really tire out Joanderson and end up getting a finish, late into the second or third round, I'd love to see it. So lucky. Let me know why I'm an idiot for this second plus 200 dog on the card.
To be honest, I agree with a lot of the sentiment of your breakdown, to be honest. I think a lot of people think Gomes sucks because they don't like the way that he fights.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, he does not suck at all. He's actually really good, in my opinion. He's a 6-foot-tall featherweight who understands very well the advantages that he's afforded. He understands distance well. He manages his range very effectively. Very, very good on defense, in my opinion. He does not get hit. Very difficult to hit him. He mitigates, opponents' potency very well. And I think Gomes is good. I think he can beat a lot of guys in the UFC, because he just knows how to win fights. I think this is a bit of a tough one. Brito is really good. I like him a lot too. I always have. I think he's a bit better than Gomes. I think he deserves a ranked fight. I mean, he kicked Diego Lopez's ass, and that guy's got the fan club size of the U.S. Army. So Brito keeps showing up and putting guys away, minus Bill Algeo. And I think he needs to get his chance sooner or later. So I think in this one he's going to force Gomes into kind of a dirty, uncomfortable fight and find a way to impose himself where others have been unable to do so. But I totally understand the rationale behind your play at minus 200. And I do think a lot of people, because they don't like the way it looks, are quick to criticize Gomes when I actually think he's quite skilled.
Yeah, like even the Francis Marshall fight where he won that split decision, Francis Marshall was hitting him with like 5% of his shots and somehow got a split. It was a split decision. I just don't. Defense, I think, will be more appreciated by the French judges as well. So we shall see. 2 cents.
So it's no secret to any of the homies in the group chats. I'm on William Gomes. And I mean, I said it yesterday on the podcast too. So it's on the record. I bet Gomes at plus 210. And I just think it's a bad stylistic matchup for Brito. And I think he's kind of like Highlander absorbed like Diego Lopez's soul and his power, and like he's absorbing a little bit of the hype too. I mean, Diego Lopez made me look really stupid the last event, and like he just got his biggest win. So like on paper, it's Brito all day. So I understand why he's the favorite, but like stylistically, man, like Gomes is a better striker sans Diego Lopez than pretty much everyone that Brito's beaten. You could even argue he's like a cleaner striker than Bill Algeo. I think he hits a little bit harder. And he's fucking fast, and he's not chinny. Jonathan Pierce can't strike worth a fuck. Jack Shore is a bantamweight. He's really small compared to Gomes, and Gomes is going to have a little size advantage on Brito. And like Shore is slow as shit. Like Lucas Almeida, like these dudes, like again, like I agree with Lucky that Gomes is like people don't like his style, so there's a little bit of like hate, like fuck this dude, or like. Yeah. There's a little bit of I got burned by Gomes energy a little bit, I think. But yeah, I mean, I'm obviously hyping up the dude that I bet. But yeah, I just think stylistically it's going to be a frustrating fight for Brito. I think he's going to be doing a lot of swinging and missing. He hits really fucking hard, but like his defense isn't super great. And Gomes knows how to like slip and rip and kind of like roll away from big punches and counter with big punches of his own. So like, I think he's going to have the crowd behind him. I think he's going to win a decision. So, yeah, William Gomes is the side for me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we might be going for the big Zhang Li tonight, boys. We shall see. But with 2 fights to go, I need a 5th fighter, and Gomes might be it because Why not? Why not put William Gomez and Vince Morales?
If Bill Algeo can style on this dude and make him look silly, like fucking Gomez can do it too.
It's a very similar frame between the two. Those long, lengthy featherweights might just be the issue here. So I like it. And I've seen a lot of the same things. I think there's a huge footwork advantage too with Gomez. I think the speed goes to Brito, the power goes to Brito, but we shall see. Good fight. Continues to be a good fight. The co-main event, which should be 5 rounds, but is unfortunately 3 rounds. Nasruddin Imavov taking on Brendan Allen. I think this is an extremely interesting fight. Good fight at 185. Imavov's last fight was very weird to me. First round didn't look great, but then after that, I did think he looked much better against Cannonier and kind of just built as a win. I think he kind of just gave a preview into how he's going to approach 5-round fights. I think he was much more aware that it was a 5-round fight. I think he was kind of more reserved as the fight began. And with this being a 3-round fight, I think both these guys are going to come out very, very aggressive. I don't know who's going to win this fight. I think it's going to be a very good fight. I expect there to be a finish, though. I really do. I think that we could see grappling Brendan Allen for sure in this spot where he really, really pushes the wrestling and grappling, doesn't just look to stand and bang like he often does. And I think it'd be smart for him to do in this spot is to look to wrestle and grapple with Imavov. I do think he could submit Imavov for sure. On the feet, I think Imavov definitely could knock out Brendan Allen as well. I somewhat understand the line on this fight, but I also think it's a bit wide. So I don't have a problem sitting back and watching, and I get people on the side of Brendan Allen. I just have a feeling that Nasruddin Imavov's going to catch Brendan Allen with something and knock him out somewhere in this fight. I'm not sure where, probably maybe second round. But I'm going to take Imavov by KO round 2, but I understand everybody on the Brendan Allen side. Lucky. Or 2 cents. I can't keep track at this point. I'm sorry. 2 cents. I don't mean to ignore you.
No, it's all good. I don't really have anything on this fight. Well, no, that's not true. I did throw Imavov in a long shot parlay. I do have an all finesse parlay. But yeah, it's just Allen is definitely the better grappler. So if he gets on top of Imavov, like Nasruddin's going to be in fucking trouble. But he's just too much of a dumbass on the feet. And I think it is going to stay standing. He's not going to win a fucking decision in Paris. And I think if anybody gets knocked out, it's Allen. You look at the similar opponents, like Nasruddin fares way better on the feet. Like, I don't know, dude. The way he fights, it's something that was like, I was hoping that he would kind of like get out of his system and improve his fight IQ. And like, he's still a good fighter. He's improved his skills. But, dude, he's still brawling like a dumbass and getting clipped. It almost cost him the Curtis fight again. So, yeah, give me Imavov by decision, maybe knockout. But, yeah, I can't bet Imavov either because I do give Allen the grappling advantage. And, like I said, he could sub him. But, yeah, give me Nasruddin.
All right, fair enough. Lucky, what do you think about this co-main?
Really fun fight, I think. I'm not really an Imavov guy. I never really have been. Keeps winning, though. Good fighter, skilled in multiple arenas, looking a little better in the cardio department as of late as well. You know, he's beating ranked guys over 5 rounds. But, you know, Brendan Allen is doing it all, too. He's getting guys up out of there. He's dangerous. He's won 8 in a row. He's got 3 performance bonuses over that span. I think it's a little bit wide on the line here. You know, I feel like this is just 3 rounds, you know. We could see Allen, you know, maybe getting some top time, looking good there, and then it's going to be on Imavov to really kind of really separate himself over the times that they're standing in some of these rounds. So I don't know. It just feels like we got 2 fighters that are surging up the division right now, both kind of vying for who's going to really break into that title picture next. And I don't know. It's just not a spot where I feel like somebody is minus 200 here. So I don't really have a ton. Other than that to say, but yeah, I mean, I'm gonna lean Brendan Allen as the underdog here.
Yeah, no, totally fair. And I mean, Brendan Allen got 4 or 5 takedowns against Curtis in that fight, so he definitely was going to the wrestling a lot in that spot. So, yeah, interesting fight. And whoever wins this fight, I think, is definitely in line for close to a title shot at this point. So 185 is a disaster. Renato, we'll go on to main event here. This Brendan Allen plus 180 minus 220 on the Imavov side, plus 240 minus 300 on the Brito side as well. Sorry about that. On to the main event, Money Moicano taking on Benoit Saint Denis. Another very, very good fight, very interesting fight. I originally, before, really kind of looking into the last few performances by Moicano particularly, I thought Benoit Saint Denis kind of by destruction was the way I was leaning, to be honest with you. And I mean, I still kind of am. I do think that Moicano can, play that spoiler though. Like if he gets, if he's able to get the back of his opponent, any opponent, I think he's able to choke out just about anybody at 155 if he does. His jiu-jitsu is super legit. The chin is concerning, but it seems to be much better with the extra 10 pounds at 155. I know he almost got walked off by Jalen Turner, but besides that fight, he was fighting extremely intelligent and well in the fight, and he didn't get knocked out. So that's okay. I know he still carries some of that damage, and I don't really know with Benoit Saint Denis what like I need to see to fully trust him, but I'm going to sit back and watch with this fight. I could see Moicano coming through. I think the fact that it's 5 rounds, though, I think at some point Benoit Saint Denis starts to pour on the pressure and put away Renato Moicano. So I do think that the long streak of Moicano not getting knocked out comes to an end here. I think that the Dustin loss will end up being good for Benoit Saint Denis. I think that at least I was on Dustin. That's why No 2 Cents was. I can't remember if you were lucky, but this is not Dustin Poirier. This is Renato Moicano, who is now 35 years old and a podcast host. So all of love to the podcasters out there. But I'm going to go with Benoit Saint Denis. Round 4 TKO. We're going to go championship rounds. Why not? Lucky.
Yeah, listen, I like Moicano. He's a good personality. It's $500, my unit size. There you go.
1 million.
Yeah, listen, I like Moicano. Good personality, good skills. I picked him to beat Jalen Turner in his last fight. Not going to pick him to win this one. I think Santini's got this one, 6 years younger. I think physically, just better physicality, stronger, good. I think, obviously Moicano's got good grappling, but I feel like Saint-Denis is going to be able to have his way with him in the grappling, and especially early. I mean, the way that he was throwing Poirier around with a staph infection. This guy's super strong, man, and I think he has better striking volume and offense, in my opinion. Probably worse defensively if I kind of had to pinpoint the weak point and the stand-up for Saint-Denis, but, fighting out of the southpaw stance, I think he gets back on track. Moicano talked about it. He's getting old. The durability, I think, is a bit of a concern. Jalen Turner hurt him bad last fight. RDA dropped him when they fought. He's not dropping too many people these days. Fiziev knocked him out. Korean Zombie dropped him. It's just, I think Saint-Denis gets back on track in Paris here. I think Moicano after this fights Paddy Pimblett next, I think is what they're going to do. So a double prediction there for the fight results and then the next opponent for Moicano. So, yeah, I like Saint-Denis, man, and I honestly would think about parlaying him, to be honest. I just don't know if there's anything that I would want to pair it with. So, yeah.
Fair enough. Now I'm at the Sophie's choice here at the end, but no, we're going with the big Zhang Li. 2 cents.
Sophie's choice. God, that's the fucking TV movie or something.
Yeah.
God, I think I had to watch that shit in school for something. Where was I? So yeah, man, I think that Moicano and Brendan Allen a little bit too are value traps. I think they seem like, oh, dude, you're getting a good fighter, and he's a good fighter. Like, you're getting a good fighter like this at this, dog money. It doesn't seem right. But again, this is one of the setup fights, dude. They didn't think about it like this. Benoit gets, starched by Poirier basically. And they're like, they have enough confidence in him that they're going to have him headline another Paris event, which is like one of the few events they've ever fucking had there. That tells me that they want Denis to win. They think he's probably gonna win. He is probably gonna fucking win. He's probably gonna knock Moicano out, dude. I mean, you guys talked about it. He doesn't have a good chin. He's 35. Yes, he has a little bit more durability, but he's also facing dudes like at this weight class that hit fucking harder than featherweights who fucking knocked him out anyway. And like, dude, if that's Benoit, like he's not letting him off the hook. He's not going to let him off the hook here. I think he's going to force a brawl and starch him in like the first or second round.
Yeah, that seems to be what makes the most sense to me as well. So nearly minus 300 at this point. Parlay of the week is going to be Benoit Saint Denis, but yeah, Benoit Saint Denis by knockout for me as well. Which brings us to the Zhang both overrated, but Benoit Saint Denis is the pick. Fair enough. And then Noah saying this would be Kudalava's last fight in the UFC. Totally fair. So I'm at a crossroad with the Zhang here. I can do one of two things. I can include William Gomes as my final leg, or I can include Benoit Saint Denis. So I can do a plus 3,000 or a plus 1,100. Which one should I do? Okay,
it's your bet. I think Saint Denis for sure is winning, though. In my opinion.
Exactly. And that's where I'm really at with this, that I am going to leave William Gomes out of it. I am remaining. So with the Zhang for this week, and I know it is my bet. I would never blame anybody else for this monstrosity, but it's going to be Jacqueline Cavalcante, Eileen Perez, Omar Sy, Vince Morales, and Benoit Saint Denis. And I'm keeping Vince Morales in there over William Gomes simply because I really don't believe in Taylor Lapalisse. This is more of a fade on Lapalisse and a belief on the getting it right in the second time for Vince Morales. He's gone on to the home soil of a few fighters on this recent track, and I get it. Taylor Lapalisse is a level up, but I am going to go with Vince Morales in there. But
who is the fourth leg, Aaron? Sorry.
No, it's all good. I'll go through it again because I kind of told it in the wrong order anyways. But it's starting out with Jacqueline Cavalcante, Eileen Perez, Vince Morales, Omar Sy, and finishing it off with the main event and Benoit Saint Denis. It gets us to a plus 1170 for the Zhang. And again, I am going to be betting William Gomes as well as a dog at plus 240. I do agree with a lot of the points that 2 cents had to say. But that is the end of the breakdown for the card. I want to thank everybody in the chat. And again, if you're following along with the Zhang 5 money line parlays that we put in there, if you want to add another one and you want to sub out anything and add in William Gomes, go ahead. But I would just go ahead and not do that. Lucky, any bets you have for this upcoming weekend? Thank you so much for making the time on Monday and tonight, as always. And shout out to the chat.
Of course, man. It's never a chore. Yeah, thanks for having me on, as always. And I do have that bet on Perez Ziyam minus 105. That's all I got at the moment. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna think long and hard about that Brendan Allen, man. But yeah, Ziyam's the only thing I have as of right now. So thanks for having me on. Good show tonight, guys.
Absolutely. Always great to have you on. 2 cents, thank you as always for making the time, man. Any bets you got to point out?
Dude, thank you. Yeah, I got a couple shit. Well, of course I don't have my shit pulled up, but man, thank you as always for having me. Shout out to you, Lucky, everybody in the chat. Wish all the best of luck, of course, on all your plays. I am tailing the Zhang right now, logging in as we speak.
Sure.
Yeah, my underdog bets are Chris Duncan plus 185, William Gomes for plus 210. So I did get a little reverse CL. I did have I took a little flyer. It's a 5-legger on just 5 French fighters that I like. With this, I was inspired by the Zhang Li on this one. So this is all Frenchies, and 2 of them are underdogs. I did Cornole, Ziam, Imavov, Benoit, and Kevin Jussier, actually. So I did throw Jussier a little battle spite there. But yeah, dude, I got to thank you for that one because you inspire me. Tailing the Zhang Li, man, and the podcast parlay from yesterday for me, we all agreed on C and Lapalus, and I threw Benoit in there for mine. And yeah, that's all I got, man. Those are all my bets, dude. Thanks again. Shout out to everyone in the chat, like I said, and smash the like button. And yeah, I'll be back for the next one.
Yes, sir. And Nick Alexander knows always tail the Zhang Li. We're looking for number 8 to complete the menorah for the year. But thank you, Lucky. Thank you, 2 cents. Thank you, chat. We'll see you Monday night next week, Lucky and I, for the Contender Series. And then next Wednesday, we will be back for whatever the next card is. So good luck, everybody. And again, it's an afternoon card on Saturday. So enjoy. Peace.